Are we losing something practical, pragmatic? I mean, what happened to home economics or basic economics? Are we getting worse as our kids get to be middle-aged and so forth and so on? I'm going to hang up, and thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you, caller. Okay, Chris?
I'm not quite sure what his question was, but the idea is that, I guess with Cuba, I mean, here's a nation that was pretty much shut off from the United States, and, they've been able to, eke along. Yeah, they have, 60-year-old cars, and maybe the standard of living by our standards is not very high, but they do have, family, and they eat healthy food, and, they still have a dictator there. I think that at the end of the day, we're going to have the problem ultimately comes down to that we have a monopoly currency and monopoly men controlling it. And I think when this falls apart, we need to have a competition in currency, competition in ideas, and that we cannot have...
Uh-oh. I'm sorry. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I was trying to catch that other call.
When this decentralization of power happens, local communities are going to have to decide what rules they're going to go by.
Right.
And you have to look at them as like separate, ecological systems. Some, I think, will naturally go towards a collectivist, a socialistic type community. I personally don't think that they're going to succeed, but let them try.
Yeah.
The hippies tried their communal way of living, and
I was a hippie.
Yeah, and on a spiritual level, I agree with them. But at the end of the day, people do need to be rewarded, or at least have a store of value, or have some sort of price mechanism in the economy for it to function properly.
Well, Chris, we're going back to the phone lines. Let me catch this call for you. Okay, you're on the line with Chris Duane.
Hello, Tazima. Hello, Chris.
Hi.
He said
hi.
Oh, okay. I can't hear anything at the moment. I think he mentioned that there were 7 stages, but I think he's only listed 5 so far, or am I incorrect?
No, there's only 5.
Yeah, there's only 5.
Oh, okay. Then all right, I stand corrected then. All right. Thank you much.
Okay, hon. Thank you. Yeah, Chris, you know what? We're going to have to go into commercial break.
Okay.
So I want you to hold on for me.
I will. And
I'm going to give out the number again. So let me set this up here, you guys. All right, everybody, you are listening to Evolve on WOIC 1230 Columbia. I'm Tazima. And on the phone lines with us this evening, we have Christopher Duane, who is a financial and investing expert, telling us about the possible collapse of the U.S. dollar. All right, everybody, we are back from commercial break, and I have on the line with me Christopher Duane, who is a financial and investing expert, and he's also the founder of the Sons of Liberty Academy. And he's, the show, I know it's challenging for a lot of us because most of us don't want to think about, this possible disaster that may be coming toward us. It's much easier to just accept that, I'm not going to think about that. But in the worst case scenario, what if it did happen? Are you prepared? And even if you are preparing, like a friend of mine said to me, even if you are preparing and it never happens, what have you lost? Nothing. Nothing. If anything, you've invested in some silver and gold. So I'm back, Chris. I've got so many people calling me during our commercial break, too, asking me to ask you questions. And we've got about another, 10 minutes. So
the point you just brought up with the choices that you make, you can either put your head in the ground and ignore it, or you can prepare. And if nothing happens, then you're fine either way. But if something does happen, the net result of the choice between not doing something and preparing is going to be a dramatic effect. And I actually did a video on The Greatest Truth Never Told on YouTube called The Decision Matrix. And to me, it's just a 4-step square that it totally makes sense and should propel people into action.
Well, how long do you think, once this collapse happens, see, mathematically, it just seems like it's inevitable. I don't know when it's going to happen. I don't know if you have an idea. Right, but it's inevitable. I mean, mathematically, it's like something has to give, and math is absolute. And it's going to be
the largest transfer of wealth. I mean, it's like, why bother working on anything else? If you're able to pay your bills and feed yourself, I would much rather work towards the largest transfer of wealth and starting to build a business than, trying to, eke out some gains in the stock market. No, the best and biggest money has always been made of seeing where the market's going, getting there before everybody else, and this is going to be the single largest transfer of wealth in human history, from intangible, paper, digital, fiat, counterparty risk assets to things that have real value like food, gold, silver, guns, things that you use every day.
It's funny because I was listening to something, I can't remember now, but they were talking about how we're moving away from this paper dollar and everything is going toward like those debit cards and, credit cards. And I remember when I was listening to that, I started thinking about the stuff that you're talking about because that seems like maybe that's the first step to get you used to not even having that paper money in your possession. And then when they say, oh, guess what? Everything is done now. We've got to start all over. So you don't even, and with all the distractions, like you have videos up about why you need to delete Facebook, why you need to make connections with human beings and not just do texting on phones. It seems like it's set up on purpose to keep us from connecting with each other. And it's just amazing. But I'm going to give out the number.
Even our physical life, we live in a world where we have to drive around in cars. If we lived, worked, and play in an environment where, communities were together and you walk to town, you become more connected with your friends and neighbors. I live in a neighborhood that everybody, goes into their closed garage, gets in their closed car, and drives away, and we hardly ever see each other.
And you know what? I used to ride my bike when I had a bookstore. I used to ride my bike to the bookstore. And nobody would see my car, so nobody would come in the bookstore because my bike would be in the back. And I remember I was so frustrated because that meant I couldn't ride my bike anymore. And now if I try to ride my bike to the yoga studio, the traffic on the highway, I have to cross like this major road. It's just horrible. It's like, no, I can't do that. But listen, Chris, we've got another call, and I'm going to give out the number real quick. 803-748-9293, 803-748-9293 if you have a question for Chris Duane. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, I would like to say that all of the things that he is predicting, even if it doesn't happen in our lifetime, history does have a tendency to repeat itself.
Oh, great point.
So why not listen and prepare for the next generation? Your generations that might be on this earth 100 or 200 years from now. And regarding the Facebook, when I first got on Facebook about 3 years ago, I thought it was so ridiculous how people were paying money on Farmville. Running up their credit cards.
Oh, wow.
And I was thinking the energy that they're using on Farmville, they could be using that energy to do some real farming.
So you had to use a credit card for that? I don't know that. I'm not that
I
savvy.
could be wrong. I don't know how it works.
No, there's free parts of it, but if you want to advance quicker and faster, you got to pay money.
I know. I just kept getting a lot of invitations, and I would always ignore it because I thought it was so ridiculous.
Like I do. Well, okay. Do you have a question for the guest? Or
no,
is that
I just wanted to say that, although it might not happen in this lifetime, history could repeat itself.
That's right. All right, caller. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know what, Chris? I have a listener actually that I got from your one of your viewers, and he just wanted to put out there some of the solutions, and I'm not going to read all of them because it's a long list. But his name, I think it's Edward, and he said, "Think for yourself." That's the first thing. Think for yourself. Turn off your TV and question big business, big government, and big religion and big media. And I thought, yes. But he had a lot of good points on here. But we're going back to the phone lines, Chris. Hold on. Okay, caller, you're on the air.
Hi, Nazima. I'm not sure if this question was asked of Chris because your audio online died.
Wow.
A couple of minutes ago.
Okay.
And so I'm having to call in just to check. I apologize, Chris. My question in general is this. Should something happen and the electric grid goes down or whatever the case might be, and that shift occurs, how would you say that people who deal with computer programming is going to be affected or not affected, and what should they do?
Well, obviously, if there's no power, you don't have a job, and you're probably going to have bigger problems on your hand than worrying about, what your boss is going to be doing. I tend to think that the electrical system, and my studies of the Soviet Union collapse, which is probably the next thing that I found, basic utilities and water were the first things that the government, the society, we all worked towards to doing, because we realized that if we don't have fully functioning water, all of a sudden we have health outbreaks and stuff like that.
Right.
So I don't necessarily think, unless there's an EMP, which I highly doubt, that we're going to have a massive, shutdown of all the things. Like, that's the thing, folks. Like, yeah, there's going to be a currency collapse, but it's not like humanity is going to have mass amnesia and forget how to do things. All we're doing is probably going to miss time being paid to do these things. But I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of people who will just keep things going. The government will do stuff and stuff like that. Then there's the thought of, is the internet going to get taken down? No, the internet is, I think everybody will get that up quicker than anything else. So.
Right. They'll get that up before they get you water. But,
yeah.
Chris, can you tell us, because we've got like 3 minutes left, can you tell us real quick, like, some of the solutions that everyday people can begin to take for themselves just in case?
Honestly, the best thing they should be doing is going to the sonsoflibertyacademy.com. Tazima just signed up for it. It's a totally free program. It's, get this, folks, 48 hours of video lessons that I did over a 1.5 year period, from 6 years worth of research and over 240 books. I dissect everything that's ever been going on in the world, where it's going, economically, socially, spiritually. It's all in there, and it's a free program. You can donate if you like the work that I did, but to go through solutions and problems and all of it, it's just like we said before in the Matrix. It's this program will zip you up to speed, get you to know all the stuff that I know in probably about 2 weeks' time if you really put your mind to it. But most people take about a month to go through all the lessons. But I think that's probably the single best thing you could be doing.
And again, that's the Sons of Liberty Academy.
Mm-hmm.
They can just Google that, and it'll come up. You'll see Chris Duane, his name, and just click on that and go on and sign up for it. Because like Chris just said, I did. Because the reality is, the way that I look at it, like I said, what am I losing? Nothing. Okay, if anything, I'm gaining something. If nothing happens, okay, no big deal. I'm better for it, But if something does happen, it's better to be prepared than to find yourself unprepared. And the first rule is self-preservation, man. So people freaking out or whatever, you don't want to be in that situation. You don't want to be in a situation where you have to figure out, is the government going to come and help me? Do they recognize that I'm here? Think about Katrina. Think about how long it took for them to get some type of assistance. I mean, the bottom line is, and it's horrible that people had to go through that right here in this country, but imagine that if it was across the country. Would you be prepared? So, you know what, that's the music. Chris, God, every time I'm on the air with you, it seems like the show is only 20 minutes.
I know.
Well, listen, thank you so much for calling in again and being a guest again.
All right, thank you so much for having me on.
All right, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for everybody who called in.